Thank you, fellow Africans. So, therefore, fellow Africans, allow me to dive into our today's episode, being the 29th episode of the Change for African campaign. And also being on Thursday, we discuss our fourth pillar of the Change for African campaign, which is a strategic movement that is aimed at first civilizing the African youth, the importance of uniting and having a common goal. Because remember, as I told you before, that the moment you realize that we are facing a particular or the same problem, then that is when you develop the same intention towards curbing that problem. And so, fellow Africans, today being on Thursday, we discuss, as I've said before, we discuss our fourth pillar, which is about the living standards of our people in Africa. Living standards is a very critical issue when it comes to the lives and the people of the great continent of Africa. So this is an issue that should be at heart of the leaders of Africa. This is an issue that should be of great concern for the leaders of Africa. And so therefore, when I dive into this matter today, remember, we have agreed that this week we'll be using the recent proceedings that were taking place in Addis Ababa on Saturday, or the preceding week or the other week, about the AUC, chairmanship elections and all the elections that happen in different positions in terms of African, leadership positions. So that's as the new team come into place in terms of taking the new roles at the AUC chairmanship, and the leadership in different categories, and different levels. That's an issue of living standards. They should heavily, take it to the very great concern, because these are lives of people we are speaking about and their well-being and whereabouts. So when you speak about this, we have a lot of things that we ask questions about, because an issue like living standards, we have some issues that we do, and the very common things we ask is about, are our people able to access quality services in different or essential services at ease. We have services like quality education, healthcare services, good infrastructural facilities in terms of them being able to move from one place to another. So this is the issue we discuss. Are our people able to live in secure, places? Are people secure in terms of security operations in Africa? This is what we discuss. So therefore, what I'm urging that the new leadership at the AUC, at the African Union Commission, is that once they need to take that strategic intervention into this matter, in terms of working with the respective heads of state across Africa, in making sure that wherever you have a problem, they are looking or finding solid solutions towards curbing these problems, because these are real things that affect people. Because Africa is made up of people. When you speak about 1.2 to 1.4 billion people, we look at how are then these people living. What is the state in which these people are in? That is one of the things we consider. This is a very huge population, whereby we need to be very responsible. We need to be very, very serious with such population. We need to take them a little bit of more serious, because these are the people that make Africa. These are the people that make Africa to be proud as a continent. Because this is a workforce, and we need to see and implement ways in which we can make sure that the living of this African population, or the living status of these people, is in a very decorum, in some very decorum standards that they should be living in. Because looking at different parts of Africa, lives in terms of when I speak about services, it is very hard for very corners of Africa and people to access quality services. So these are the things that we speak about. And so what I'm trying to urge us this morning, as we proceed and as they take the new mandate at the AUC, let them work collectively with all the heads of state in making sure that they do whatever it takes to be able to liberate many African people from the states of destitute, the living standards, they be able to unlock the state in which the lives of the people of Africa live. Because for sure, the lives in which many of the African inhabitants live, or many of the African population live, is a very worrying state. Go to Eastern DRC today. These are people. Look at the living standards. Go to just many parts that we have several problems, insecurity. And there's these are the things we should be dealing with. People moving up and down, because it means if we have insecurity in most parts of Africa, it means then no access to quality service. The essential services. Hunger is trickling in, and all these things. So these are the very, very issues of concern about the living standards of the people, because people are the sovereign. These are the sovereign people of the African continent, and this is the African future. Here we hold the minds of people who are being looked upon in terms of them being able to change Africa, because these are the brains that need to come into place in terms of seeing on how Africa may develop in one way or the other. So let us be very serious about their whereabouts, their well-being, and their living standards, because their living standards will determine the farther they can go in terms of contributing to the development of our African continent. And so therefore, fellow Africans, allow me not to go more than, or to do more than that, because I believe it is just an issue or upper tube that we are doing to make sure that they proceed with doing the necessary in terms of looking also at the living standards of our people in Africa. And I want to wish you a good afternoon. God bless you, and let's meet tomorrow as we discuss our last pillar of the week, or our last episode of the week about the climate change that we face in Africa. Thank you, and God bless you.